Health Radio Network, 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. Download the new WNN app to your phone from your app store and never miss a Talk 1470 AM, 95.3 FM minute.
You can become independently healthy, and I'll tell you how. Dr. Bob Martin here. If you want to feel, function, and perform the very best you can, please tune in and call into my show Sunday mornings at 10 on Talk 1470 WNN.
On-the-job stress can be a killer. Not only can you develop health problems from job stress, but it can tear families apart. That's why over 200,000 people have found a way to fight back at the rat race by learning how to work from home, either full or part-time, thanks to Online Trading Academy. People of all ages learn the right way to trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex. You're taught by pro traders who are certified, currently trade, and are profitable. They show you what they do every day, how to find the right stocks, how money is made in up, sideways, and down markets, how professionals time the market, and how to limit the risk on each and every trade. So if you're sick of job stress, learn how to start working from home at Online Trading Academy. Take a free half-day class to see if it's right for you in Broward or Palm Beach. Online Trading Academy, the leader in stock trading education. Call now, 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800.
Talk health. Talk wealth. Talk politics. Talk 1470 and 95.3 FM. WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
This is Tanoa Lynn Poirier, and I want to welcome you to Comm-Unity Conversations on WNN 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. This show is about you. I want to hear your trials and triumphs, challenges and victories, and how you overcome obstacles every day in our dynamic industry. All callers are welcome to join Community Conversations. This is where we'll discuss all things in common. We'll discuss managers, directors, vendors, and owners. Let's elevate the conversation. Raise the bar. Start here, now. Hello and welcome to Community Conversations with Tanoa. I'm your host, Tanoa Lynn Poirier, and as usual, it is my privilege to have you with me, so thank you for joining me. I'm a little better this week. In fact, I'm a lot better. Last week I had a lot of hoarseness in my voice, and you just hung in there with me, and so thank you for doing that. I'm better. So I got your prayers and your good vibes, and the good Lord healed me, and so we're ready to rock and roll. It's the middle of January 2018. This just seems to be going so fast. That sound effect was my own. Welcome to Friday. You made it, you did it. Sit back and relax, and let's just spend a little time together the next 28 minutes or so. Last week's program, as a review, was about welcoming 2018 and saying, bye 2017, not going to miss it. And we want to make sure that we're looking in the, in the windshield, which is much bigger, and the rear view mirror is small. So let's just leave 2017 where it is, learn from whatever it is we needed to learn from those experiences. But really, we want to keep it positive and move forward. And that's one of the three things I want to remind you from last week. We want to maintain our positivity. Keep that, so the vibe and that energy level up in the face of all of the things that you're hearing, seeing, reading, the kind of anxiety and disappointment that people are experiencing for lots of reasons, everything from political to economic to, changes in relationships and jobs, but that you are just going to continue to keep it positive, and the glass half full is what we talked about last week. So I promise you, if you continue to exercise that positivity muscle, it gets stronger and it gets easier to see the glass is half full. So let's do that together. The other thing, and this is a really big deal, and so I want you to take advantage of this. Take before pictures of all of the projects that your community has planned, and you're going to be so happy. Take the before pictures, during pictures, and after pictures. At the end of next year, you're going to have a list of items that you've accomplished with the board together, and you're going to be able to remind them of the value of professional management. It makes a real difference when you can say, remember in January we did X in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and they look back and they go, wow, I'd forgotten about half of those things. It's your responsibility to yourself to let them know how important you are, how integral you are to their processes, and frankly, how valuable you are. So take my advice on this one. Start your pictures, and if you don't have time to do it, assign it to somebody. If you have an admin or a maintenance guy it really is just about take your camera or take their cell phone or your cell phone and just take pictures. It doesn't have to be elaborate, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. You're going to create a report based on all of the accomplishments, and you can do it a PowerPoint. You can make it nice and bound and beautiful. It doesn't have to be 50 pages, remember, but it needs to highlight and outline and point to all of the things you accomplished together. So please take my advice on that one. And the other thing that may be helpful, I talked about as we begin the year, we kind of have an idea of what's coming up, right? So if you have roof repairs, you need to redo the pool if you're in Florida, or you need to do tennis courts or a sports building or whatever it is, you have an idea of what you need to accomplish. So the way I manage big projects, and again, this is based on a blog that you can find at hellotanoa.com. That's hello, TANOA.com, and work backwards. So figure out the date, around the date you want to complete that, and then work forward for your timeline so that you can keep on track. You can kind of know where you are, what you need to do. If there needs to be a community vote, you're ready. If you need to plan in a season that is more beneficial to your community, you decide, but you can work backwards, and that's how you manage projects. And the last thing that I just want to review from last week is if you have a lot of traffic in your office and there are a lot of questions about projects that you're involved in, a large whiteboard, and I'm talking, 4x4 or 3x4, will you write the date of the projects, the progress? Are they open? Are they pending? Are they closed? So if you're not in the office and a board member comes in the office or an owner comes and wants to know what is the projected date for X project to be completed, you'll be able to point to your whiteboard that you're going to update regularly. And it is an accountability tool for you. It is a accountability tool for kind of the board. And it's also it empowers them to be able to just come and take a look, inform themselves. If you're just doing a monthly update or a monthly report, they're going to need to know between board meetings kind of what's going on. Do me a favor. You'll be a hero. They'll love it. And it'll make you accountable. And we all need that, because what we want to do is raise the bar of professionalism in our industry. We want people coming into the industry, and we want to make sure that we are exhibiting the highest standards of professionalism, expertise, knowledge, and confidence. And every time you complete a project, you get more confidence. So take those from last week's show as a reminder. They have gotten me through many years of managing, and I know it gets difficult, but I'm trying to help you. From the book, from the blogs, this show is all about teaching, sharing, learning, growing together, okay? So this show is about something I wrote a blog about as well, and it's called Please Don't Pet the Cam. I might have a graphic coming up here, and I'm going to show you. If you go to hellotanoa.com, and there it is. If you go to hellotanoa.com, you'll see this picture, and there's a blog attached to it. And Freddie, my producer, is the bomb. Thank you, Freddie. So this is about basically, and if you're a female community association manager, you may have run into these kinds of issues before. And I start the blog by saying some people think familiarity breeds contempt, and I say familiarity breeds more familiarity. And I have a couple of stories. I had an older guy, and I worked in the beginning of my career, and over 55 communities, and they're mostly male dominated, and they're really wonderful and nice. And so these are just funny stories. I know there are a lot of things going around the world about inappropriate, pardon me, inappropriate touching and harassment, and that's not this. So I had a guy who was a coach in a former life, and every time you did something good, he wanted to give you a smack on the fanny, on the behind, to say congratulations. And of course, he didn't just do it to me, he did it to everybody, but no, that's A, it's not appropriate, and B, it's weird. And so the first time it happened, obviously one is shocked. There's a natural space that everyone needs to respect, right? So I got the hairy smack. The name is changed to protect the innocent. I got the hairy smack, and I made sure that I was not going to let that happen again. So I knew which hand he smacked with, and after I said something which he agreed to, I moved out of the way of the smacking hand, and it was very obvious that I had deliberately moved out of the way of the smacking hand, and Mr. Harry did not attempt to pet the cam anymore after that. Now, you may have your own stories. I'm positive you do. Now, I didn't freak out, and it was not for me a traumatizing event. It just is. This guy was a coach. He did it to everybody. It was kind of just his thing, and he continued to smack others, but he didn't smack me anymore. That was really interesting. In these communities where people are away from their families and they're elderly, and they kind of miss the human relationships because their children live far away, or their children work all the time and they don't visit them maybe as much as they do. They see you every day, right? In these 55 communities, 55 plus communities. And they could be non-55 plus communities. But what happens is, because you see them every day, you begin to develop relationships with people, which is wonderful. Sometimes you sort of give someone a hug as a greeting, and people in Florida do that all the time. I'm a hugger. I try to maintain the appropriate length of the hug, but people have different opinions about what that is. So in another instance, I had some inappropriately long hugs from people that made me uncomfortable. And so, again, it was not an harassment situation. It was just as people age, I will tell you that sometimes their judgment gets a little clouded from medication and illness and just kind of old age. And so you have to just make the appropriate adjustments. But again, the blog is about, please don't pet the cam, because you invade their personal space. We want to be warm and welcoming. We want to be nurturing to all of those people that we care about. But you gotta keep your hands to yourself. You can't be too handsy, which is what I call it. And sometimes people get a little handsy. If you have experienced this kind of close contact with an owner or a guest or a vendor in a community that you serve, give me a call, because I'd love to hear about it. 888-565-1470, 888-565-1470. I'd love to hear about it. So, for me, one of the most wonderful things is the relationships we get to have with people whom we serve. And they'll bop in to the office just to say hello when they've returned from their northern homes, their summer homes, and they come to Florida for the winter. There's a lot of welcoming back hugs, and sometimes they want to even give a gift or express their affection for you. For me, I guess I'm talking about me, but I just want all of you who are having these close relationships to just remember that there's a red line, that there's a line of professionalism that you've got to maintain. It is for your benefit, and it is for their benefit. You don't want to have an example as the manager for the people who you supervise to believe that people, owners, vendors, guests, violating the personal space of your staff members is an appropriate greeting, an appropriate thing to do, because it's not necessarily. It is your responsibility to have these conversations and foster an environment where they can come to you in the event that this kind of thing goes beyond what is comfortable for them. And as I said, some people grow up in families where they're very huggy. Mine is I'm a hugging person, but some people grow up in families where there's not a lot of affection. So the level of comfort may change depending on, who works for you. Foster an environment where you have an open door and they can come to you and say, hey, this happened, I'm not sure. And handle it without making them feel guilty or weird because they are not a kind of hugging person, and just kind of explain to them what your experience is with this person, like Harry the behind smacker. And if it rises to a point where they're really uncomfortable, you've got to have a conversation on their behalf. We're going to talk more about this on the other side. We're going to take a break, and I will see you back here in 2. Thank you. What is on everyone's mind these days when they think of starting a project in their home or community? Where can I find a qualified, certified, and licensed contractor I can trust? Allow me to introduce you to Trusted Construction. They have provided expert construction and roofing services in South Florida since 2009. Trusted Construction has earned a reputation for superior, consistent, dependable service. Trusted Construction will guide you from project conception to completion. Call 561-582-5758. Tell them Tanoa sent you. Imagine having one place you can call for all your residential needs, whether it's housekeeping, repairs, remodeling, pet sitting, laundry, or anything else your heart desires. La Concierge Services is your answer. Our qualified staff is carefully chosen, experienced, licensed, and insured. They are prompt, professional, and courteous. La Concierge Services is honored to serve in South Florida's most exclusive communities. With La Concierge Services, you have a full-service, personal concierge. We would love the opportunity to earn your business. Call 561-819-2059 for more information. La Concierge Services, your personal concierge. Hello, listeners. It's Tanoa Lynn from Community Conversations. Did you know I authored a book called 365 Tips for Community Association Managers, Property Managers, and Property Owners? Yep, I did. The book is filled with little, bite-sized morsels that may help anyone working and living in any community. From working with difficult people to building consensus for big projects. There is something in it for everyone. 365 Tips is available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can also go online to hellotanoa.com. That's hello, Tanoa.com. Welcome back. This is Tanoa Lynn Poirier with Community Conversations. And I want to remind you that this show is about you. If you'd like to join the show, you can call us at 888-565-1470. Let's get back to the show. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to Community Conversations with Tanoa. I'm your host, Tanoa Lynn Poirier. Thanks for coming back. So we're talking today about Don't Pet the Cam. And it's based on a blog I wrote. And you can find all of those blogs and previous shows on hellotanoa.com. That's hello, Tanoa.com. We talked about some examples in the first segment about how people can, through no real malicious intent, kind of be a little too handsy or a little too familiar. And that happens because you work with people all the time, and some of those professional barriers begin to break down. And I want to maintain those professional barriers because it helps you, it protects you, and it protects them. One of the other things that happened in this, in male-female dynamics and owners who live there, one occasionally gets asked out on dates, and that makes some staff members feel really uncomfortable. I had a situation where I was made an indecent proposal by somebody who lived in the community. It was a very elderly gentleman, and I had to report that to a member of the board because it did rise to the level of something very uncomfortable. That was an offer was made in very graphic terms. That was completely inappropriate. And so I had to report that that was not something I could handle. But the association, my superiors, and the board made me understand from the beginning that I could come to them with that kind of information should it happen, and they handled it appropriately, and actually it went away. So this is not something that people probably talk about very often. I would say that if you're a female cam, there's a lot of head nodding happening because you will recognize yourself in some of these things. I want to encourage you to, as much as you enjoy and you have an affinity towards some people because they share your values and they're fun to be around, but you are serving in their community, that it is probably a bad idea. No, it's not probably. It's definitely a bad idea to go to their homes and their parties. And I always decline an invitation to be entertained in someone's home in a community where I work. Sometimes I have had those friendships last after I have left, and we have picked up, and now we can have a true friendship, but not while you're working on the property. That begins to cloud your judgment. And by that I mean people whom you like, you have an appreciation for, and you will treat them differently than someone you don't like. So if you've had dinner in someone's home and you've accepted gifts and you're going out to dinner with them and you're developing a relationship, whether it's a platonic relationship or a romantic relationship, you are more inclined to treat them differently. Therein lies the problem. In community association management, the biggest complaints are transparency, communication, and selective enforcement. And selective enforcement means, and you know this, that you do not treat everybody equally in terms of enforcement of the rules, maybe some leniency relative to when they make their maintenance payments, when they have violated some condition of the documents, that perhaps you are not as quick to point that out, to send them a violation letter, to correct behavior of the people with whom you have an affinity or a relationship or a preference. Really bad idea. You are putting yourself and your management company and your association and your board in a difficult position. And I know it's easy to like people you like, and it's easy to have these relationships because it makes work more interesting and fun. But I'm asking you, for the sake of kind of yourself in the industry, if you would consider not pursuing those relationships or asking for a transfer so that you can pursue a relationship with somebody in that community and work somewhere else, because it will cloud your judgment and you will get you into trouble. So, and I'm not speaking on personal experience, but I've witnessed it a couple of times, and it'll trip you up. So nothing wrong with meeting people at work. In fact, I think lots of times that's where people meet their significant others or their friends. But if it's clouding your judgment, consider a transfer or moving out of that community in terms of your workspace. It'll save you a lot of heartache and headache. Now, when we talk about, I veered off a little bit from not petting the cam personally, but I just want to touch on a little bit kind of office romances, which obviously happen between people who work together. That is not the same as having a relationship with somebody in the community. However, that also needs to be monitored. It needs to be kind of, there needs to be probably a transfer of one of those persons into another community if possible. At a minimum, you all have to work toward keeping the level of professionalism up. You do not want to continue to erode what, quite frankly, and we all know this, is a difficult reputation for community managers and the level of professionalism that people view us as. So this show, and my buddy Tom Willis, who was on the show a few weeks ago, we really just want to raise the bar. We want to have difficult conversations, and this kind of was a difficult conversation, because we want this profession to be something that people want to go into. I was reminded yesterday, I took on a new community as of January 1st, and they're a lovely, beautiful community on the sand, very high end. And one of the things they said to me as we were going through all of the projects, wow, you really enjoy this stuff, right? I can see you like your job. I do. You know why? Because I get to solve problems for people. I get to come in and have a list, and I did an action list of, 35 or 40 items of things that we need to do. But they're trusting me with their very valuable property because I'm a professional CAM. And I take pride in that, not in a self-righteous kind of way, in a way that I've earned a reputation and continue to be professional so that I can attract people to this profession. Now, remember, there are a lot of CAMs that are aging out, retiring, and there are a lot of CAMs that are coming in that are new. And so those of us in the middle who really want to have this as a destination career need to invite the young ones in, help to train them, help to have these difficult conversations with them, make it a safe place for them to air differences, to report things that don't feel good or right or proper, and help steer them in a direction that helps maintain their professionalism, keep that line of professionalism up between them and the community, so that we don't have any selective enforcement issues, and then really just enjoy the job of serving other people, correcting problems, and at the end of the day, just helping people. That's what I love about it. And there's no cubicle. You're mostly not in a cubicle. You're inspecting property. You are looking at issues in the community, and you're making a difference. So keep those property values up. Keep your positivity register up. 2018 is going to be awesome. I just know it. So take my advice for those few things. You'll keep you out of trouble. And I will see you here next time. I think we're going to talk about something with experts, and it may be in the area of plumbing, but I'll advertise this shortly. Thank you for joining me. It's been my pleasure. Have a great weekend. Endeavor to persevere. Until next time. You have been listening to Community Conversations with Tanoa Lynn Poirier. It is my honor to host this program, and I appreciate you listening. We have an exciting show planned for you next week, so mark your calendars and join me every Friday at 5 p.m. on WNN 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. We look forward to hearing from you, our listeners. It's all about learning, sharing, and teaching. We're all in this together. Until next time, be a blessing to someone and endeavor to persevere.